Good morning, everybody. We're going to try to get started here today. Thank you all for being here. Welcome to Catalyst. I haven't been here myself for a while, but welcome all of you and thank you for being here today. My name is Terry Withrow. I'm an accountant here in Modesto. I'm a CPA. I just have an accounting firm down the street here on 15th Street. And I'm also just happen to be on the Board of Supervisors, Stanislaus County Board of Supervisors. And I've been there I'm into my 13th year right now doing that. So I've been that's not a good thing, no. They keep putting me back in there. I'm sure the day's going to come when they boot me out. But that's okay. But again, thank you guys all for being here. We want to start off just by I've got a script here that I know if I don't follow, Marvin will work me over here. So let me follow the script here. So we want to just thank some of our sponsors, people that are here and that are helping provide items here for us to be here today. Starbucks is one of them. We thank Starbucks for the coffee that we have back here. Thank Starbucks for that. And then we want to thank Crosspoint Church just for providing this space. This is a great location, so we thank Crosspoint for that. And then we have some other businesses that have helped sponsor. Just let me go through these really quick. Access Capital, Blue Shield of California, Oak Valley Community Bank, great bank, the only locally owned bank still here in the community. I'm going to put a plug in for Oak Valley. Rolling F Credit Union, Stanislaus Equity Partners, STEP, doing great stuff out there. Again, Starbucks, TSM Insurance, and then and Valley First Credit Union. So anyway, we want to give all them a round of applause for. Sorry, I want to make sure I do this right. So let's move on here now to the purpose of Catalyst. Let me go through this really quick. Most of you probably come here often, so we don't need to, but let me just really quick talk about the purpose of Catalyst. Catalyst is a place for community conversations and connections that matter and inspire. This is a safe place to explore issues that face our community. We are diverse people from different perspectives that choose to work together for the benefit of our community. Our hope is that you will connect with others who share your vision, passion, begin to build trust, and work together to impact our community for everyone's benefit. So, I see Mary Ann sitting right here, and it talks about we work here to build trust. An expression that we started a long time ago, and I got this from Mary Ann, is that change comes at the speed of trust. And just remember that, because that's the way it works. If we want to get anywhere, make any kind of progress on anything, we've got to trust each other. And once you build that trust and you have those relationships, then from there, you can get through anything. And our differences, we've all got differences. We all come from different perspectives, different lives. And so if we can get to where we trust each other, and that's what's crucial, and you'll see with Michael when he gets up here and talks, if you've got that trust, you can get through anything. And so I encourage all of us, if we want change, it starts with building relationships and trusting each other, no matter what our differences are. And then from there, all kinds of good things can happen. So before we get Michael up here, just a couple quick things. As a county, we try to make this a better place. And I would say that's not just as a county. As human beings, I think we're all placed on this planet to try to make this a better world, however we're going to do this. And so we look from government side of things, we look at how can we do this? How can we make this a better place? A couple things we want to do. We want to fix current issues, fix things that are wrong, that need to be better and make them better, make people's lives better. And then not only fix what's right in front of us, but also try to stop the pipeline of those bad things from happening, of that wrong from happening. Let's try to prevent it. We talk about prevention, and let's try to do what we can to stop those things from happening. Instead of just treating the symptoms all the time, let's work on the root cause of problems. So as a county, we've been looking at that a lot over the last few years and done a lot of good things that we think we're making progress on. One of the things we wanted to do was to deal with individuals who are involved, whose lives have turned to crime, have gotten involved in crime, and not only work with, again, current issues that are out there, but try to prevent individuals from getting to that point. We went a few years back, probably it's just been 6 years, I think now, since we heard about an individual called Father Greg Boyle, Homeboy Industries down in Southern California. and he was a priest who was right in kind of ground zero of what was going on in the gang world down there in Los Angeles. And as a Catholic priest, he was in a parish that he said he was burying about 3 to 4 of his kids a week in his parish that were as a result of gang violence. And so he tried to figure out what he was going to do to try to fix that. And he couldn't just sit and continue to just do these burial masses. So Father Boyle got involved. He stepped up and to see what he could do, and he started to have these individuals, these kids, try to figure out a way to get them out of that life, to get them to do something different. And he started just getting them to come to his parish to start with. He started providing jobs for them there, and it grew unbelievably over time to the point where he now has this what we call a business called Homeboy Industries, and it's about a $30 million budget that he's got for this thing. It's not just government that's funded it. Government's one of the smallest parts of the fund. He's got a lot of philanthropy that has funded it. And it's amazing what he's accomplished, what Father Boyle has accomplished. We went down there to visit it about 6 years ago, and at the time we thought, this is what we need. We need this in our county. But we didn't have a Father Boyle. We didn't, because that's what you need. You need somebody to lead this thing, and we needed a Father Boyle to do this. So 6 years later, we're here today, and a couple things that I've learned from this, and one is, but for the grace of God. You hear that all the time, but for the grace of God. And there's no reason to judge anybody, but for the grace of God, that would be us, right? We could be in that same position. And I think about that constantly, whether we're dealing with our homeless situations or we're dealing with individuals that have gotten involved in our criminal justice system. When you know what a lot of these individuals have gone through, it could be us in those positions if we'd had to gone through the same situation. So you got to keep that in the back of your mind. But for the grace of God, that could be me. I could be in that position. And so one thing that Father Boyle said, we had him up here actually 6 years ago, and he did a dinner and then did a couple speaking engagements. And one of the things he said that just stuck with me, that'll stick with me forever, is there was a question that somebody asked him, well, what about, aren't there consequences for people's actions? Don't you think people should be punished for their actions? And he said, and he just never go away from him saying this. He said that these kids have been failed by adults, and there's nothing more true than those words. These kids have been failed by adults. But for the grace of God, these individuals have been put in situations, they grew up in situations where adults weren't there. A lot of us have been blessed, right? A lot of us haven't had that situation. We haven't had to go through what they've gone through, but it's because individuals are failed by adults, children are failed by adults, that bad things happen. And that's how we get in this spot. So there's no blame for that. There's nobody to point a finger at that. We just need to fix it, is what we need to do. We need to make this a better place. And so, anyway, those are the words that inspired us. So again, 6 years forward, here we are. We went down there again, about a couple months, it's more than that. Yeah, 6 months ago, we had a plane ride down there again to visit Father Boyle. And he wasn't there at the time, but we got to go through the whole Homeboy Industries again. And so we think now we have our Father Boyle here in our community, the individual that's going to make this thing happen. And we think Michael Baldwin is that guy. Not to put any pressure on you, Michael, but and I know you're not a Catholic priest, but I'm Catholic, so I can bless you. And I got some holy water I can sprinkle on you too. But that's what we need, is somebody who's been there. You know, you need to have, in order to work with individuals that are coming out of incarceration, you need somebody who needs to have some street creds. I say that all the time when we're dealing with our homeless individuals. In order for us to really make progress, it doesn't do any good for me to go sit there and talk to somebody who's living on the streets, but you get somebody who's lived on the streets before, who's had addictions, had all these issues, and has recovered. There's nothing better than an individual to talk to those people that are on the streets, because they've got street creds. You can't kid a kidder, I always say. And if you've been there, if you've walked in that path, you're the person that needs to talk to those individuals who are now walking in that path. And so Michael has been, and we'll let him tell his story, but Michael has spent 26 years in prison. And there's no person better than to work with these individuals than somebody like Michael. So I'd like to, with no further ado, introduce our Father, Greg Boyle, Michael Baldwin.
just my life and my experiences, and it's impossible for me to stand here alone. And so I'd like for those of you on my team to come forward, please. And so Legacy Alliance Outreach was born as a result of pain. And it's impossible for us to do anything. It's impossible for me to do anything on my own. And so we have a lot of departments now as a result of the work that we've been doing. And so I'm going to allow these individuals to speak for themselves and tell you a brief portion of what they do and what part they play with Legacy Alliance Outreach. And so, Amelia.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Amelia Rivera. I am the youth co-coordinator. I get to work side by side with Alex Paquette and Mike here to organize our youth services, where we provide our high-risk youth a safe environment to do homework, activities, and give them an all-over better future.
Thank you. And we have Sammy.
Good morning. My name is Sammy Provencio. I'm the Director of Reentry Programs. What we do is try to help navigate our clients to understand one's lifestyle of life, of criminal thinking. We do relapse prevention plans, short-term, long-term goals, and stress management plans to navigate, to help them understand more about oneself.
And we have Jamel.
Good morning. My name is Jamel Young, and I work for Legacy Alliance. I've been employed here for the better part of 5 months. I help individuals make the transition to education from incarceration. I myself am a living example of that. I'm currently at Stan State on my first semester working on my BA degree for social science.
After spending 20 years in prison. John?
It's weird being up here. I'm used to building stages, not standing on them. But good morning. My name is John Elwes, and I've been with Legacy Alliance for a little over a year now. I started off as a client myself, and one of my very first needs was housing. As I went through the program and graduated, I was also honored with being put in the position of managing all of our transitional houses. As of today, we house 26 individuals. 19 of them are males, 7 of them are females, in 3 different houses.
And we have Tanya.
Hi, I'm Tanya Marquez. I've been with Legacy Alliance for over a year. I was a client. I became a client and looking for a new way of life. Sorry. Well, I started as a client anyways. I'm now a better person, better mom. And for over a year, I've been the clothing closet coordinator. And I'm helping serve those formerly incarcerated and unhoused community. Thank you.
All right, Tanya. Sonia?
Good morning, everyone. My name is Sonia White, and I am the coordinator of employment readiness at LAO. On a Monday through Friday, we do get about 60 to 70 individuals that show up every day looking for employment. For the ones that we are unable to employ, we do give donations to.
Brenda?
Good morning, everybody. My name is Brenda Figoni. I have been with Legacy Alliance for about 10 months now. My job here with Legacy Alliance is to help our clients do what I did. Seek out resources in the community to help them develop skills to make positive changes in their lives, to provide motivation and encouragement to be better parents and connect their children to quality experiences.
Good job. All right. And we have LA.
Hello, good morning, Pastor LA. I'm the OG of the bunch here. I've been here for a while, and I'm over going to the prison. We 2 to 3 times a week. We go to the prison and we do programming. to assist our community members through their process, through their rehabilitation, and walking hand in hand with them.
Excellent. Thank you. So I just want to thank them because I have an idea and a vision, but without hands and bodies and minds and experiences, it would be impossible for me to carry that out. So thank you all. All right. So we're hope dealers. And I have a slide that should be running right now. Do you have a clicker or something for me, Mark? All right. So we consider ourselves hope dealers. There was a time when I was a dope dealer, but now we deal hope. We deal hope, and we're intentional about that. What's the best way for me to get you to move that slide? Thank you. Okay. All right, now somebody done gave me some technology. Y'all know? All right. So what you notice is we have the services that we provide, and there's a few that are not listed on here because we're still developing them. But overall, it's important for us. What we do is to seek out to provide services that were not provided for most of us when we came home. When I came home, there were a lot of things that were missing in our community that I knew that I needed. I used to wonder why were people coming back and forth to prison. And I saw some men and women come and go 4 or 5 times in my 26 years of being incarcerated. And I thought that they didn't like the community. I thought they didn't like being free. I thought they didn't like the streets. But when I came home, I could see how they were falling into these black holes. And for a long time, people would ask me, this is one of my favorite quotes, is there comes a point where we need to stop just pulling people out of the river, but we need to go upstream and find out why they're falling in. And so for me, if you want to look and see why did I go upstream, is that kid that's right there. That's me. If someone wanted to know how I was going to fall in the river, they needed to check with me right there. Because by the time of this age right here, I was already being sexually abused. I was already physically abused. I was already being isolated and marginalized in my community. I was already feeling ashamed for being black, for being poor, for having buck teeth, big lips, and I wet the bed. And most of the time I got punished for these things. But nobody asked me those questions. It wasn't until I found myself incarcerated that someone walked up to me and asked me who hurt me. What we do with the youth component of our program is we engage with them before they get upstream. And we engage with them in an authentic way. We look to teach them mindfulness, substance abuse prevention, and teach them to become leaders amongst their peers and not succumb to peer pressure. We make it virtually impossible for them to be recruited by gangs. They get a chance to notice it before it comes. We help them with their educational process where it's possible, because many of our kids we found feel isolated inside of their schools, especially once they start changing. Because now they don't fit in anymore in some of the communities that we serve. And right now we're serving mostly West Modesto, the airport district, and South Modesto. And some of the programs that we do, our main theme is what was effective for me is it took me being 20-something years old, already in prison with a double life sentence before somebody asked me who hurt me. We practice a culture of asking who hurt you in advance. We're upstream asking that question to each other and to the youth. We continue to walk with each other asking those critical questions about who hurt you, right? And one of the things that we found is that it has revolutionized some of these kids. Some of the kids, when we first met them, they were mean, aggressive, shut down, and a lot of people just focused on their behavior. But we focused on the root of their behavior, like who hurt you? And we gave them clean space, and ironically, they began to trust us. And they trust us sometimes because of where we've been. Because the assumption is that they know we can't judge them. Who am I to judge them with my life? And as a result, they open up and they share. And that's not all we do, because I believe that I left some quality men and women in my life, in my past. I left some quality men in prison who, like me, have been misunderstood, and I didn't believe that I was a bad person that needed to go to prison and be punished. I was a hurting person that needed to be healed. And healing happened for me while I was incarcerated. And I was surrounded by decent people. So one of the things that we do is we not only go back into prison, there's another programs, partner programs that we have that take police into prisons. We take police into prisons so that they can get a new experience with incarcerated community members. Because if we're going to bring individuals back into the community, how can we not engage them while they're incarcerated? So we meet them when they come out the gate. We go inside, we do wraparound services, and we're doing this with a shoestring budget for real. And we're doing this with extreme shoestring budget. But we're doing it because if we don't do it, we believe that we're the last line of defense. And exposing incarcerated community members to law enforcement and to me and to men like me is critical. When I go back onto a yard that I was on, it's like I'm a dinosaur. I'm the unicorn. But eventually they start believing that they can be free too. That they can do what I'm doing. And I bring other men and women who have been incarcerated back into the prison with me. And it changes the way that they see themselves, and it changes the way that they respond to everyday life. In addition to that, what we found is that employment brings dignity. Showing up every day to some place, leaving your house or leaving your tent. We've had men who sleep on the side of the building so that they won't be late in the morning. I've seen men get up and shake off a blanket that they've laid on right next to the tracks. And they show up and they're ready to work. And they're fired up. And that's all they wanted was an opportunity and a chance. And we hold them accountable. We're not sending them to work and feeding addiction. So we help them work on substance abuse. But we also help them work on their trauma. Because I know that at 14 years old, the first time that I tried heroin, it wasn't because I didn't fall in love with it because of how it made me feel. I fell in love with it because of what I didn't have to feel. And I thought I had found my cure. It was the first time in my life where I felt strong and vibrant and didn't feel like a victim. I didn't know that it was going to take over my life like it did. These men and women we found have the same experience. So we prepare them for work every day. And as we prepare them for work, we look for community organizations and businesses and people who have we have families now that call us and say, hey, Mike, you got any guys that can come and cut our grass? My bushes are overgrown. And we send out 2 or 3 and they cut the grass and they get a paycheck at the end of the week. We pay everyone $18.50 an hour. Most of the service providers or the organizations or the employers, we charge them $20 an hour. So we're only making $2 as an organization, which isn't smart business. But we're not investing to make money. We're investing in people. We believe that the human capital is the most expensive and most valuable thing that we can invest in. And so we're investing in human capital. And we started this legacy staffing in conjunction with Legacy Alliance Outreach because we needed people to employ individuals and no one was looking to do that, so we had to do it. We're not asking anybody for a handout, we're asking for hand-ups. And that's what we're doing. And so we have about 70 men and women showing up Monday through Friday, starting at 8 o'clock. And we start with a morning meeting. We start with a morning affirmation. Every morning we start this way. We start with check-ins and how's everyone doing? And not everybody's doing great. We've had to put some people out and tell them, but the door swings both ways. When you're ready, the door's going to be wide open. But right now you ain't ready. You're bringing danger to us. We pat down some people. We've had to add security to the building. Because some of us, there was a time when I needed to go to that healing. I wasn't safe. And so, but we're holding each other accountable, and it's improving the way that we deal with each other. And We have individuals who are earning a paycheck every day instead of stealing a Cadillac converter or doing some other nuisance crime. They're earning money, and we're housing them, and they're gaining dignity and self-respect. And you're sitting at the tables with some of these individuals. And so I want to pause right here for us to have a table talk, right? There's a couple of questions that are on the table that I'd like for you as community members to ask my friends these questions and hear a little bit from them. You might have, like, I know I do some work where, I had some unconscious biases that were inside of me. I had some automatic thoughts that I had that I didn't realize that I had. I was hardwired to think and respond in my life a certain way. It wasn't until I was challenged and exposed that I got a chance to upgrade my thinking. As a community, it may be time for us to upgrade our thinking, how we see people. And the only way for us to do that is to be exposed to people. So I challenge you to ask one of these questions to one of my friends that are sitting at the table. Ask them what's motivating them to change. And then there's an open space where you can ask anything you want to ask. One thing I can guarantee you is that they're going to tell you the truth from their experience. It may not be what you expect. It may not be what you like. It may be hard to listen to. But then there's a question that you can ask yourself or that they might be able to ask you on that list too, which offers you an opportunity to challenge yourself. And so we'd like to take about 5, maybe 6 minutes just for that, if you don't mind. All right. Can we bring that to a close? Can we bring that to a close? So I love to see the dialogue. And the only unfortunate thing is as I looked around, it looked like I didn't bring enough of my friends, right? So we had about 40 more people that wanted to come, but I didn't want to overwhelm the room. So I'd like to hear just briefly about what did you learn about someone during this discussion? Anyone? And I think we have a couple of microphones. Here you go. Just a few people. I'd like to hear what did you learn about someone from your discussion?
So I shared the same story from my buddy right here. He changed his life from Quentin. My father was in Quentin and gave me an opportunity to change. And he's doing the same thing at the same age that I was. So for his daughter. So legacy changes. Yeah.
Amen. Amen. Thank you for sharing that. Anybody else? All right.
I've learned that in the end, it's wanting to reconnect with your loved ones that makes you choose to change. And
Absolutely.
I think it's important that when everybody closes the door on you, there's still somebody else that you still want to reconnect with. So I'm hopeful that families are still welcoming their loved ones back into their lives.
Amen. Yes.
I'm listening to Sammy. Sammy said that he hit rock bottom when he was in prison, when he got that date of 2038 was going to be the date that he would be released. And he would be 68 years old. And he hit rock bottom and he decided that he needed to make a change. And then he became willing to take and participate in the programs that were offered in the prison. And he eventually, going to the classes and everything changed and turned his life around. And with the changes in laws and everything, he's now able to be out. And now his hope is to, now that his life has changed, to help others change their life. And for today is a special day for Sammy because he's going to see his son that he hasn't seen in 14 years. So today's a special day.
Come on, Carnal. Yeah. Sammy's going to see his son today. for the first time in 14 years. And you know, I know that for me, when I was making choices, I did not connect the dots that this choice was going to affect my babies, or that this was going to connect to my life. I just didn't have that type of awareness. Crime happens as a result of severed connections. So justice, if it doesn't restore connections, it's not justice. What we do is crime prevention, and we do justice. Because what we're doing is looking to create connection. We believe that relationship and connection is the key to our peace and to our vibrancy as human beings and as community. We believe that all of our voices matter, and that even when we disagree, we can hear each other. That my pain, my life is no longer a waste when I'm able to bring that back. I don't have to run from Satan, the enemy of us all. Doesn't have to use, he can't use where I messed up at anymore, because that's my resume. And as a community, I so appreciate Stanislaus County for allowing a person like me, who came from where I came from, to be reused, to be able to have an asset that I can bring to our community, and then can become contagious, because I want to be contagious. And I want all of my friends to be contagious, to where we spread like wildfire. That any man or woman that's paroled into our county, we capture them, and we welcome them home. And we help them to heal and to transition, and we let them know that those old shenanigans ain't gonna play right here. We're gonna give you an outlet. We want you to be heard. We want you to be valued, but we're protective of our community. We're protective of our youth. We're protective of our women. We're protective of our businesses. We're protective of our property. We're protective. We just don't believe that having to deploy our law enforcement to every situation is the best asset. We believe that our law enforcement are critical, but so are we. And we want to stand in the gap with them. We want to stand with you. But we can't do what we do if we don't get community support, because our numbers are growing. People are coming out of the woodwork. When I show up in the morning in front of the Redeemer, and I love the Redeemer, they welcomed us into that space. The Weave building welcomed us. And we came with a lot of noise, right? And we came with a lot of stuff. And they welcomed us, and they've allowed us to thrive. And when we show up in that building, to that building in the morning, we usually have 40 people standing outside already, waiting to go to work, to come and get some food. And we're not a food bank or anything like that, but every program we run, we make sure that we get a chance to eat. We believe that eating and breaking bread is an important part of our connection. And Alita in the back, she is our new event coordinator, right? Alita, can you stand up for a second? All right. So Alita has been on my helmet. Mike, can you please announce that we're going to be doing a fundraiser on the 28th, right? So we're going to be doing a fundraiser, our first fundraiser ever. That's my weakness. I don't know how to ask for money, right? I've known how to give mine. I've known how to work for it. I work a couple other jobs so that I can provide some funds to make sure that we don't have to shut down. Eventually, I'm hoping that I don't have to work any other jobs, that I can just focus my attention on this. But right now, I'm having to work a couple other jobs in order for us to make it. But we're going to have our first fundraiser on October the 28th. And on October the 28th, we're going to have bingo. We're going to do some raffles. We're going to give out free car washes for every 3 dinners that you buy. It's going to be some bomb food. And I want you guys to know that we have a budding chef, too, in here. His name is Luis, right? You know, stand up, Luis. Luis is an amazing cook, and he is learning, and he's developing, and he just had a conversation. Can either one of you share anything that you learned about Luis from that conversation?
I learned that he knows how to find eel in the Central Valley that's good enough to eat. So that's he's got a good nose for it.
That's awesome. So we're running close on our time, but I just want you all to know that we are hope dealers, and we are here, and we want to be utilized in our community. We're servants. I myself, I don't have any family in California anymore. I paroled to Modesto. I started working at this law office in Patterson, and that was all I had guaranteed that I knew, is I was going to have this job in Patterson, and I was coming to Modesto. I've fallen in love with Modesto, and this is where I'm going to live and one day die. But this is where I've been planted, and so this is where I must grow. And my hope is that I'm a tree that people can eat from. Are you a tree that people can eat from? What fruit do you bear on your tree? Who's allowed to come and eat from your tree? Could someone that comes from a life like I had eat from the tree that you grow? I would hope so. Because we have a lot of youth who they look for us to guide them. We have kids who are dying from fentanyl and so many other things. And fentanyl is just there this time. 3 years from now, it'll be something new. What we want to do is get to the root. We're upstream. Come join us upstream. Join us. Marvin?
If I could, I just want to follow up a little bit, and we're going to do one more table talk here, let everybody talk a little bit more. But to follow up on what Michael at the end was talking about with regard to funds and what's needed. So, and I say this often, so if you've heard me say this before, I apologize, but I think it really applies. Like I said, I'm Catholic, I'm raised Catholic, you know, we're sinners, we have all kinds of guilt, we got all kinds of issues. And I'm Irish Catholic, so we drink to take care of those problems, unfortunately. But there's a prayer that we say as Catholics, and it goes like this. It says, forgive us for what we've done, and forgive us for what we've failed to do. And as a kid, I always thought, you're kidding me, you know. I know what I've done, and I get it that I'm in trouble for what I've done, but now I'm in trouble for something I haven't even done. I failed to do something. You're kidding me? So I'm getting in trouble for that. But today, it makes total sense. And I ask all of you here, don't fail to do, because that's the problem, right? It's not, we all make mistakes, we've all had all kinds of issues, but it's the things that we failed to do, the moments that we should have stepped up and done something that we didn't. Those are the things that you don't want to go to your grave with. And so I ask all of you here to not fail to do. We need to help individuals. We need to help Michael with what he's doing here. As a government, we're doing what we can right now to make this work, but government, even though I'm a part of government, I'm not a big fan of government. You know, I used to have a fellow supervisor that used to say, government can't give you a hug, and that's just the way it is. Government cannot give you a hug. We can provide money, we can do programming, we can do all those things, but it's individuals like all of us here that really need to step up and make a difference. The city is providing money for Michael right now, I think through the Modesto Police Department. He's got a grant that he's just living off of to the best he can right now. The county has approved about $1.7 million pilot program for 5 years. We're going to give $1.7 million that we're going to get to Michael's organization hopefully here soon. And those are all things that government can do, but all of us need to do more to help him. The employment side of it is just, we need individuals. We've got Ann Inslee, who is just a saint in our community, for those of you who don't know Ann, and she has stepped up and providing the employment for a lot of these individuals right now. We need more Ann Inslees. We need more of us to step up. And let's give Ann a hand. So again, I ask you, don't walk out of here with a good feeling and say, oh, that was great, okay, and you go back to your lives. Do something. Let's do something to try to help, because we can't do these things alone. We've all got to get involved. So please walk out of here thinking, okay, what am I going to do to help these individuals? If you can have that thought as you leave and work on it, that'll work wonders for this program and for what Michael's doing right now. So I'm going to let everybody's going to have a little bit more table talk, and then we'll let Marvin kind of wind things up. So take about 5 more minutes to talk amongst yourself.
All right. Let me, there's great conversation taking place, and I just want to acknowledge that. But we're kind of wrapping things up so you can head off to your day. You know, my name is Mike, by the way, and I get to rub shoulders with most of these people every day. I get the joy of being able to interact with them and just love seeing the transformation that's taking place and hearing some of their stories. It's very cool. The challenge, I think, a lot of times in a setting like this is that we hear these stories, we're inspired, we walk away going, that was so cool. And the fact is, a lot of times we don't stop to reflect a little bit on how has what I've heard going to change the way I live? How is what I've heard this morning going to change the way I approach my life and the life of those around you? And I have a quote that is important to me. It says this: without reflection, we can go blindly on our way, creating more unintended consequences and failing to achieve anything useful. And our desire is really not just to inform you, not just to inspire you, but that this morning in some way would be useful. It changes the way you think, approach, the actions you do, who you support, those kinds of things. And so what I want us to do is, as a corporate group, just to take a few minutes to reflect together. And so what I'm going to ask you to do, how we're going to do that, I'm going to ask you to take out your phone, and on the table there is a QR code. It says something about Slido. And what you will do is you just take your phone, you open your camera app. Now don't take a picture of it, but once you point it at the QR code, just tap the screen, and it will open a program, and it's going to ask you a question. What inspired you today? And I want you to be thinking about, what is the message? How is this going to be useful to you? I want us to reflect together. And Ryan's going to put this, it's already on the screen, in 1 or 2 words. What thought inspired you today? Let's reflect together in this way. And I'm going to give you about 20, 30 seconds just to think a little bit. And then what's going to happen is it's just going to start putting words there, and it's going to help us. Oh, you heard that. That's cool. Okay? What other thoughts are coming? So let's just reflect together for a minute, and then Marvin's going to come close us out.
Hey, let's give it up one more time for Legacy Alliance. Would you do that? If you are on his board, on governing board, can you stand? Is there anybody here this morning that is on his governing board? Great, I just didn't meet many of them. They're not, okay, Michael, that's cool. You know, I'm going to make some comments. I'm just writing in the back, and then I'm going to move on, is this. I read a lot. If you know me, I read a lot. And you all read a lot because you are all amazing people. And you hear crud about Stanislaus County and all. You all are doing some amazing things, doggone it. And too bad it doesn't make national news. So I want to encourage you, all of you in the room, and Legacy Alliance, because they're here, just amazing things that you're just so encouraging. And it's a great place to, government can't give you a hug. I'm going to steal that. But it's about belonging and connectedness, and we talk about that often. I want to mention just a couple things, and I'm going to get you out of here, is that my dad died 10 years ago on Saturday. And so we went to the funeral. We went to the cemetery with all the family, you know how you do, and then we went to lunch together. But my dad didn't start well. And he was a knucklehead. Any knuckleheads in the room? Anybody ever been a knucklehead? Raise your hand. All right, thank you, okay. And if you didn't raise your hand, you just became one. And but one of my cousins who has a story, I just said to him and all of us, Dad finished well. He finished well. And I want to say to you, all of you, men and women, all of us, finish well. Your legacy is that you finish well. Not how you started and not the mess, but how you finish. And I know I say that for myself as well. And so finish well. Let's all of us continue to finish well. I get the privilege of being in the building with these men and women every day, and I come in, and I'm there a little bit early, so I see the men and women, they're sitting there, and they're hanging around waiting to get back in. And there's some things that I walk away from every time, the humility that I sense in myself. Because sometimes I'm candid with you, the arrogance and the self-righteousness, sometimes that bubbles up in front of me, is disgusting. And so with those eyes, sometimes, those things happen inside me, and it's shameful. And I want to say it out loud to you, because if you sometimes are walking around and you see some of that stuff, and it's just so easy. And I was telling Terry over here, and I said, dude, all right, I said, hey, dude, one or two mistakes that we didn't get caught. I mean, when I stole out of stores and I didn't get caught, what if I would have got caught? My life could have had a whole different trajectory. And so the humility that I know that I'm really gaining, and I want you to know, I learn from you, those of you who are in the room, I learn from you every day. Make fun of NASCAR, and you're going to hear Art in a minute when he's going to close. Where's Art? Arturo, where are you, dude? Okay. He's going to close us in prayer, because they close their meeting in prayer every day. So Arturo, I'll have you come on up. But I'm not asking anybody to change. I'm asking everybody to continue to heal. Just like who hurt you, continue to heal. Let's continue to heal. Whatever that is, whoever it is, you continue to heal. And so I'm going to leave it at that. I know I want to make a couple of different announcements. Arturo, you can just go ahead. You can come on up and just stand here, and I'll get you, though. There's a lot more I wanted to say, but we are an amazing community, and let's continue to invest in all of these men and women, not just that are getting cared for at Legacy Alliance, but I see Redwood Center here. I see others just doing amazing work, and I know I'm missing some of you. Just want to encourage you. Listen, let's stay at this thing. We need each other. I was telling Wanda, I'm going to use your name. I was telling Wanda, hey, when you need some encouragement, you text me, and I'll remind you you're going to be okay. And we need to continue to do that with each other, because it's rough out here. So I want to mention a couple things to you, and then I'm going to let you talk some more, is that we continue to host Catalyst so that you can all meet together. So I want to encourage you. We're going to finish here pretty quick. I'm going to ask Jose to come on up, share with us about October. But I want to let you know, continue to talk, to meet people. Please don't walk in the room and then sit down and then look at your phone. And I know I'm doing, what can I delete out of my email? So collaboration happens around the table. So I want to encourage you to continue through the day. Hey, I was at Catalyst this morning. Forget sharing about Catalyst. But hey, I heard about this, what's happening in our community, and this is what's going on. And just celebrate together, because there's incredible things that are happening. We are just like so many of you in the room, we are a 501c3. We survive out of grants and scholarships and personal donations. And so if you want to participate in the ministry and the work of City Ministry Network, as we continue to move toward deep leadership development in the community, because this is what this is about, developing and investing on all of you, you're welcome to join us, just like so many of others have. There's documents over here back at the table with Legacy Alliance. If you want to grab some papers on the way out, there's coffee. October. Let me give you something else that's been amazing that's happening. As we are looking at 17,000 housing units short in Stanislaus County, sometimes people are without a home because we just have no place to put them. So, a couple years ago, Stanislaus Equity Partners was developed. It's a community development corporation. And they're going to give you an update, not just on what the work they're doing around in housing, but also what else is going on around the county in collaborations and partnerships, because they've been key. So the Vice President of Stanislaus Equity Partners, Jose Sabala, will give you a brief. Can you turn that on? What's going on so you can look up next month?
All right. Well, good morning, everybody. Super excited about next month. Man, we are a light upon a hill in this community, if you don't know that. We are doing some amazing things in this community. This is not me. I'm not saying this is Stanislaus. I'm saying we as a community, okay? So next month, we are having a national San Joaquin Valley Affordable Housing Summit here in this county. First ever. It's a big deal, guys. Come on. It's a big deal. So September 14th, I don't know if there's a slide or not, but September 14th, we are, Stanislaus Equity Partners is hosting this San Joaquin Valley Affordable Housing Summit, leading the way, and it's creating an equitable, and inclusive future for the San Joaquin Valley. So super excited about that. And registration information is on there if you're trying to get there. Just look up San Joaquin Valley Affordable Housing Summit. And then with that, we have some amazing gyms in this community, and we're really excited because one of our gyms is actually going to be highlighted and awarded an award, and that's my mentor, this little guy right here. He's going to be honored there as to receive a distinguished award for the work that he's doing in this community and collaborating and bringing us all together. And we're super thankful for that. And we're super thankful for you all. So follow us on social media, Stanislaus Equity Partners. You'll find more information there. And we're excited to continue to push our community forward. Thanks.
Thanks, Jose. Yeah, next month we're going to get an update because there's some good stuff happening. Of course, there's more that needs to happen, but at the same time, there's some great stuff happening around the housing. Next month as well, right after Catalyst, if you are interested or some others are interested, we want to do another series. About every 3-4 months, we do a Catalyst workshop. And this one is on teaming and how to bring together a group of strangers to make something incredible happen. And so that'll be here as well. It'll be right next door, so you can come to Catalyst, or we've had others who just show up to the workshop. And so Matthew Francis, who we've been working with and talking to, is going to be putting together, how do we bring together a group of strangers to do something special in a community? So that'll be next week, and you'll get some more information on Eventbrite here coming up next week, and Mark will have that for you. Legacy Alliance ends their meetings every morning in a prayer. So I guess Arturo is the one who does the prayer. So we're going to let you experience what happens every morning. You can use this one.
Thank you. So I'll leave you with some of the words that some lady told me that makes a lot of sense. She said, if we don't embrace change, we may end up on a corner asking for some. So that's what I'm trying to do. So if you don't mind bowing your heads. And we all say, God, make me a better person. Teach me to understand people no matter how big or small they may appear by my estimate. Show me where I've hidden my own defects of character instead of me finding defects in others. Keep me from interrupting people or contradicting them when they speak. Make me as courteous and tolerant to others as I would expect them to be to me. Forbid that I should spread poison gossip. Don't let me laugh at others' mistakes or resort to shame or ridicule when people displease me. May I never punish or condemn others for my own self-satisfaction or so I have more power than them. Let me not tempt others to lie, deceive, or harm people, and guide me hour by hour to demonstrate by all I say and do that honesty will produce a stronger character and ultimately happiness. Reduce, I pray, this evilness in me, for it is my greatest enemy. When I fell out of patience with myself, help me, God, to hold back a vicious tongue. May I ever be mindful that people are people, and I should not impose on them the judgment left for you alone. Let me not rob others of the opportunity to make choices and decisions for themselves. Bless me with the willingness to give when the request is reasonable and the courage to deny things I know from my experiences can be harmed by any measure. Loan me your wisdom to have pure motives in all my affairs or endeavors, and fit me, God, to be an instrument of love and respect so that others may imitate me. Amen.
Thanks, Arturo. That's it. See you later. Enjoy yourself. Sit around. There's still people to talk to. Enjoy.